Good evening, everybody. It is 8:30 p.m. It is Sunday night, May 31st, 2020, and you are tuned in for a live recording of Podcast PD. This is going to be episode 75 of Podcast PD. We want to thank you for joining us live here on YouTube and or Periscope. If you're watching on Periscope, come on over to podcastpd.com/live, and that's where the real party is at as we record our 75th episode. My name is Chris Nessie, at Mr. Nessie on Twitter, also the host of the House of EdTech podcast, and I am joined tonight, as always, by one of my podcast compadres, AJ Bianco. AJ, how are you, sir?
What is going on out there, podcast world? Thank you for joining us tonight, episode 75. Chris, this is a big number. What's the anniversary for 75? I didn't get you anything.
You didn't get, I got you something. Where is it?
You did. You know what? I didn't. I was going to do the laundry today, but I got caught up doing the lawn. But you sent over a beautiful Podcast PD, the podcast T-shirt.
Podcast PD, the podcast. Yeah, because
baseball reference.
Yeah, baseball. Baseball or spaceball?
Baseball.
Yeah. Okay. It's going to be that kind of show, folks.
That's the way it's going to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you haven't figured out, we have visually rebranded the podcast. You can see that here with the multitude of colors, and your podcast players should have updated last week with some new art. And next week, hopefully, the three of us will all be able to sport new gear. AJ got his first. I don't know. That's just how the United States Post Office works these days. Right. Yeah. Actually, real quick before we get into our who knows where we're going with the show tonight, do want to send out some love for our co-host Stacey. Stacey, unfortunately, she lost her mother earlier this week. She passed away, and our love and prayers go out to Stacey and her boys and her husband and her family. I can't imagine what it's like to lose a mom. I still have my parents, and just many love and prayers out to Stacey and her family.
Yeah, I second that. I mean, there's no words you can actually put in there, but we're here for Stacey, and I'm sure if you're listening, you feel for her. We understand. We love you, Stacey, and really, we're here for support. I don't know what else you could say. I always say, remember the good times, and hopefully those memories are the ones that stick with you forever.
For sure. And as we also start to move on, we just want to thank everybody who is starting to arrive in the chat. Hello to Bruce. Hello to Stephanie. Hello, David. Hello to Jill, starting to check in. So if you're joining us on YouTube or Periscope, let us know where you're checking in from. And if you have comments or questions or things that you want to talk about tonight, again, the point of episode 75 is that we are going to talk about anything but education. And if you want to hop aboard, we will certainly, quote unquote, open up the phone lines shortly. And you can join us by going to podcastpd.com/join. If you don't want to turn your camera on, that's cool. You can just do audio. Or if you don't want to do that, again, you can leave a comment on the YouTube or the Periscope broadcast. AJ?
So we understand, as Chris just said, that, tonight's topic, we're really going to focus on anything but education. And we kind of figured that with the end of the year for New Jersey educators and a lot of schools on the East Coast, a lot of schools ending elsewhere, we want to have a little fun. And we understand what's going on around us in our society today. And with the tragic events of George Floyd that took place over the weekend, the protests that are going on right now, powerful message being sent of equality is a topic that we want to tackle here. And it's something that we acknowledge that at this moment, we just don't think we have the right resources to discuss. Like a lesson plan, we would like to have preparation. We would like to have a plan of attack of how we can work through this. Because we wanted to kind of take the edge off education, we don't think the idea of having fun around this is appropriate at this time. And look, we are welcoming for anybody who can speak to the ideas of how we can share these protests and the idea of race relations with our students. We want all of the information. We will have to do the research. But like I said, like any lesson plan, we would like to be prepared before we just kind of go out there and shoot the ideas. As social studies teachers, as Chris is a current one, and I'm a former social studies teacher, I could just imagine the conversation that would be going on in our classrooms. And I think the idea of distance learning right now will take that away from our students. But we still have to remember that our students are seeing this on TV and they need to understand what's going on. So instead of feeding the ideas, I think it's time to educate our students to what is happening and how it relates to history and how we really need to make the change going forward.
I agree. And then, yeah, I mean, we're not certainly brushing over it. We, again, to echo AJ's sentiment, we're not blind or deaf to what's going on. But we talked this afternoon even about how we could, approach current events. And, something that I had mentioned to AJ was that, the point of this podcast PD, is focused around professional development, anytime, anywhere PD for educators. And that is always the focus of what we want to do and the lens that we want to put things through when we present content on this podcast. So, we know you're not tuned in for necessarily our perspective or our political views, because we are focused here on this podcast with providing you professional development that you could then take and use to impact your teachers or your students. So, and AJ, I really liked how you put it as a lesson plan. So we need to plan what we want to do and how we can take what's happening and how we can provide a conversation or talk to, specific people and get them in your ears to give you value as we try to make sense of really right now what seems like a senseless world where, one of the best things I saw on the internet yesterday with the whole SpaceX launch was a meme. And AJ, I don't know if you saw this or anybody in the chat saw this, was, two astronauts got on a rocket and left Earth. Good choice.
I didn't see that, but that, unfortunately that is a good way to put it. And, just like the astronauts, we're not trying to run from this. We're not trying to escape this. It's not something to escape. And as I said, as a former social studies teacher, teaching this to our students and having them understand with empathy, the problems that still exist in our country is not something that's easy, and it's not something that we can tackle in one episode. So, if we can continue this in any way, if you can bring somebody to us or direct us to somebody who teaches this in their classrooms or who has the expertise of relating students to this, as Jill said in the chat, if you're watching, our younger students are seeing the events of the world and trying to process it without teachers. We don't know what the situation is like at home. We don't know how students are reacting to this or how parents are reacting to this. So it's very hard to just say, because of my feelings, that this is wrong, when other people look at this and unfortunately might think something different. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging. So, we do the best we can. And I David suggested,
Good
Josh,
friend of ours.
who we both know from, Ed Camp, New Jersey. So we certainly have people, but if there are other people that we should consider reaching out to, we do have a network of people that, we're certainly going to reach out to, and you can certainly look forward to some content in future episodes, probably as soon as next week's episode, where we start to tackle, how we can use what's happening and how we can learn from it and how we can bring it into our classrooms and how to properly have, what for many people are going to be these difficult conversations. And, math teachers and gym teachers and science teachers, that this impacts all content areas and, how students learn and how we teach, depending on where you teach and, the environment or the community that you work in could certainly impact how you go about what you do. I know that it impacts me, as a white male who teaches in an urban school district where the students I work with are primarily African American or of Hispanic descent. So I'm working with people of color every day as students and my colleagues. So, I have a perspective that can certainly come out in the future.
And I think for everybody out there, if you're still in school and you're thinking about bringing this to the forefront in your schools, it's about equality. I mean, we look at the hatred that's out there, and we look at what's taking place, and then we look at the wonderful news that there are, you know, people of every background working together to protect officers and to protect people, that we're all the same and that everybody is worth in this together and we're all part of this society. And I think when we think about that and that idea of equality and being together as one, I think that's the message we send to our students. And as Chris said, it is about learning. You know, the way I might handle it in my classroom and lecturing my students about what's right and what it is to be a person might not be somebody else handles it in their classroom. So we're going to learn, we're going to take this, and we're going to hopefully address this very shortly and figure out ways that we can bring these conversations to the classroom in a positive way.
Speaking of the positive, let's shift gears a little bit more towards where we wanted to go with this episode. And, you know, it's the end of the school year. And again, AJ, I'm tired of talking about education. It's been a long, daunting marathon of a school year. I still have 4 weeks to go, 3 weeks to go. And, you know, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Yeah, you know, summer is coming, but let's use tonight to talk about anything but education.
Yeah, I think we started tackling this live from, what was it, March 15th or 16th? We went live right away, and we kind of tackled the ideas of what we can do to help teachers, you know, get through distance learning. And now that we're almost through it, I think Dan had a nice quote: "We need sports back," and then that is the truth. You know, that might really solve a lot of problems in America with just some kind of different things to focus on. So we're gonna adjust course here, and we're gonna just focus on the fact that we need something different than education. We need something that's going to help us just get through the summer, because from what I'm reading, it doesn't look like sports are coming back anytime soon.
No,
Maybe basketball,
actually,
but I don't care about basketball.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Jill wants to talk about your shaved head. Show that off, man.
Ooh, there you go.
Where's the goat? You get rid of the goat? No, you still got
well,
that.
it's trimmed down. I got like 3:00 shadow right now. Yeah, it can't get too long. I feel like I look like a rat of some sort, so I had to trim it down.
Hey, Splinter.
Yeah, Master Splinter. Yeah.
Favorite
Ninja Turtle.
So let's go.
Actually, wait, hold on. I wanted to share a quick story how AJ and I talk at least one night a week. And when I say at night, it's like late night podcast PD, House of Ed Tech, AJ and Chris after dark, talking on the internet, you know, video chatting. He's working, I'm editing, you know, so we're just occupying each other's time. And the other night, we were missing sports so much that AJ is working on something for his job, and I'm playing in his ear John Sterling home run calls. It was like a 7-minute clip, and we're just going through it. He's trying to guess what game it was, and it's just the calls, you know, that John Sterling, if you're not a Yankee fan, John Sterling's their radio announcer, and he has a home run call for every player, and that kind of made us feel good.
It did. And the fact that I could guess some of those made me feel good, but some of them was way off. But it was good to hear John Sterling and a little bit of Yankee baseball. I like Mike in the chat over here saying he's become a part-time South Korean baseball fan. So Mike, are you getting up at 4 a.m. watching South Korean baseball?
Let's go FC Dinos.
We got Eric saying he's watching Greyhound racing. All right. Hey, look, we got to pass the time somehow. There's got to be something. I'm sitting here watching the cooking channel. I've been watching reruns of diners, drive-ins, and dives from 2007.
I saw. I don't know, AJ. Do you watch Do you have HBO? Do you watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver?
I don't usually. I have HBO. I don't really go to that channel very often.
Caitlin and I watch it. We enjoy the program. You know, half hour, wrap up the week, and with John Oliver's satirical view of the world. And he is actually now the sponsor of a marble racing league.
Oh my goodness.
It is. There's this YouTube channel where there's these intricate marble courses, and they race marbles, and it's not like the heaviest marble wins. It's really cool. So while you're commenting, I will try and I'll pull this up and make sure it's in the chat and in the show notes out at podcastpd.com/75 for people who want to check out marble racing.
So I guess late at night I'll be checking out some marble racing. Thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. But yeah, if you're out there and you are kind of got that itch of sports, movies, pop culture, something that you want to share, you want to talk about that you're missing, tonight's the night to do it, because we're shifting. We're not focused on education. We're focused on how we're going to free our minds and head into the summer with a dose of normality, I guess, if that's even possible. But
I just put it in the chat on YouTube, and again, it'll be in the show notes for you listening on the podcast side of this. It's Gels Marble Runs, JELLE apostrophe S Marble Runs. And last week tonight with John Oliver is now the presenting sponsor of this marble racing league, because they were looking for money to keep producing their YouTube videos, and he stepped up and he's sponsoring this marble racing league.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Hey, you know what? Actually, yeah, I like this comment from Dan in the chat.
Like
and again,
comment.
if you're listening on the podcast side, you need to come over when we talk about that we record this live. So in the future, come out to podcastpd.com/live. And Dr. Dan Kreinus wants to hear more about the Reflect Ed podcast, AJ, which when you're listening to this on the podcast side, it'll be, Wednesday, June 3rd, which means Monday, June 1st will have come and gone. AJ, tell us about Reflect Ed.
So I don't want to go too much. I feel like I have to say this. If you want to know more about Reflect Ed, you got to subscribe to Reflect Ed, because June 1st, episode 1 is going to drop. It is ready to go after several hours and months and weeks. See, now let's go back for a second, because Dan knows I was on Dan's show where I actually made the announcement that a podcast was coming. And it has been since that time. I think it was January where I put it out there to Dan that the podcast was coming. So from January until June 1st, that knot inside of me has been building and building and building. That fear, maybe, we could talk about that. That fear has been inside of me. And I finally got it out there. So it is recorded and it's ready to go for tomorrow. I don't know what time it gets released. I'm not the podcast master like you, Chris, but that bad boy's going to be there.
It's the podcast over here.
That bad boy's be ready to go for, what was it, midnight tonight, 1 a.m., 3 a.m.? How does it work? I don't even know.
Probably publish at 1:30 based on how I advise you to do things.
There we go.
1:30 a.m. It'll come out loud.
If you're that curious, stay up till 1:30 tonight and check it out. I appreciate everybody. Honestly, I do. And I speak to this in the episode. I really do appreciate a lot of the tweets, a lot of the likes, and you guys here, interested in the podcast. And episode 1, I called it "Done is Better Than Perfect." Just 'cause that's really the inspiration for this one. So thank you all. And if you listen, please provide feedback where I could grow and how I could change going forward.
Nice. So that's reflectedpodcast.com. You can search it everywhere you can get podcasts. Yeah, we could put it out at 1:34 a.m. Jill, I hope you're not still awake to do that. That's Jill Dobrowanski, former guest of the podcast, checking in. But we are live. You can come on and talk about anything you'd like to talk about tonight. Hop in at podcastpd.com/join. If you have questions for AJ and I, you'd like to get our take on something, throw that in the chat. But AJ, I'm going to come at you with a question.
Go for it.
And I'm not going to get us down the road of depressed sports. So I'm going to ask you, AJ Bianco.
Hey, I'm Italian over here.
Because of that,
yeah,
I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite mob movie?
Wow. Favorite mob movie. All right. Bronx Tale.
Oh, okay. All right.
Good one, right? Goodfellas is close behind, but Bronx Tale is one of my favorite ones. I don't know.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I got those flipped. I really like Goodfellas.
Number 1.
Yeah, Goodfellas. I really like Goodfellas.
I don't know. There's something about a Bronx Tale that I just love. It's got those moments of like mob, but it's got the moments of like reality.
Okay. I mean, Goodfellas is based on a true story.
I know, but this is Bronx Tale is too, I think, isn't it?
It's based on a one-man show.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Hey, you got me there. I don't know. The cast is phenomenal in a Bronx Tale. Colosino. It was called Colosino in high school for a while, so maybe that's why it hits me a little bit.
See?
Yeah.
You got a favorite scene, favorite line? That's podcast
Uh,
appropriate.
I can't narrow it down to a line or a scene. A lot of it stands out. Maybe I don't know. Like I feel like Robert De Niro in that movie. His part was phenomenal when he's talking to his son and trying to like teach his son about like just life. So anything with Robert De Niro and talking about like baseball and role models, that stands out to me because that's something that's real. We tell that to our kids who our role models should be. So maybe the idea. If you've never seen A Bronx Tale, that's a really powerful part in that movie for me.
Yeah.
What about you in Goodfellas? What stands out to you as best part?
I got two. So it's like a 1A, 1B type situation.
Mm-hmm.
I love the scene where, sorry, the movie is just old enough where I don't need to do spoilers, but there's a scene in the film where a lot of the main characters, they're in prison and they're going through how they're cooking in prison. And it's the cooking scene that I really enjoy, where they're like slicing the garlic with the razor blade,
yeah,
and
right.
stirring the sauce and making the braciole in prison. So that's like my 1A. My 1B would be, and I've been a little bit since I've seen it. I'm sure it comes before this. That one continuous camera shot where they're going into the nightclub, where Ray Liotta's got I can't think of the
Pesci?
Lorraine Bracca.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The actress. So he's taking her into maybe the Copacabana for the first time, and it's that continuous shot where they're going through the back door of the club, through the kitchen, out to the seat. They set the and then of course, what am I? Funny like a clown?
Am I amuse you?
Do I amuse you?
I like that. It is a good movie. Those I'm telling you though, Bronx Tale and Goodfellas are two fantastic. Like The Godfather is always the standard. You go by The Godfather, right?
Right. Like Godfather 3, which everybody. No.
But yeah, those are pretty good. Those are pretty powerful. Yeah. All right. So let's keep with the movie theme. I'm going to ask you your favorite sports movie. Let's go. You can go sports specific. You want to do baseball? You want to, because we're both baseball guys here. You want to tell me your favorite baseball movie of all time?
God, you're killing me, Bianco.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm thinking this has to be the baseball movie I would watch,
continuously.
Number one, if you had to force me to watch it, I'm all in on this. So many good baseball movies, AJ.
Come on, you got to pick one. Wow, the dead
I'm
air.
gonna go Sandlot. I'm gonna go Sandlot.
Oh, that's what I was thinking too.
Gonna go Sandlot.
So Sandlot is great. Like that's like the go-to like baseball movie, no matter what, because it's everything, right? Don't say Bull Durham. And Bull Durham is really not one of my favorites. That's like, it's a good movie. I don't know what your thoughts are on Bull Durham. It was a good movie, but it wasn't a great movie.
I gotta say that I do like the movie, and I'm a little biased because there's currently a podcast out there called Bull Durham Minute.
Right. Yes, that's true.
Heard of this one. I am the person who designed the cover art for this podcast. It's done by, I guess Sully. I can say he's a friend of mine because I know him, Sully. He used to host the Sully Baseball podcast, and now he does the Locked On MLB podcast for the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, whatever. But so there's a podcast where he's going minute by minute through the Bull Durham movie, having a guest on, talk about a minute of the film, and so it's a good movie. I had to watch the movie again to do the cover art for it, but
it's not one of my go-tos. It's a good one. So Sandlot, I think Sandlot will be number one, but I think if you're going to throw another baseball movie at me and you're going to go Kevin Costner because it's not Bull Durham, Love of the Game. You ever see For Love of the Game?
I love For Love of the Game.
When I first saw that movie, I think it was like 18, 19 years old. I saw that movie. I took my girlfriend. We thought it was more like a romantic movie. And I was like, I can't stand this. Like, this is not about baseball. But now as you look older, you
think about it. You're inside the head of a pitcher.
Can we get Eric's comment on here real quick? Because he says Major League. And yes, I was going to go comedy next. So Eric beat me to it. Like Major League. We're going comedy baseball movie. Major League.
Comedy baseball. Yeah.
Come on.
Major League.
Or Naked Gun. I mean, it's not like a baseball movie, but it's a big part. Naked Gun. Come on. I know it's not a baseball movie, but the end is all about baseball.
That's true.
Palazzo.
You can't throw me out of here. I just did.
Dan Kreines thrown in Rookie of the Year and Little Big League, 2 phenomenal movies from the 90s. This is great.
Rosenberger.
Gardenhose. And Little Big League is like one nobody really thinks about, but it was one of my favorites because Griffey was in there, and I'm a big Griffey guy. That was Griffey
Wasn't that the movie that centered all around the twins?
Yes.
That's the one where like the kid becomes the owner of the team.
Yeah, exactly. His grandfather owned the team, and his grandfather passes on, and he gives the kid the team, and he becomes the coach.
only in Disney, right? At the Disney movie, right?
It's got to be.
But Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year is definitely a Disney movie. Maybe Little Big League isn't, but Major League definitely.
The line that comes to mind from Rookie of the Year is Daniel Stern is the pitching coach, and he's on the plane. He goes, "I take this cookie, I put it in my vomit bag, wrap it up, take it to the hotel, and next day, voila, breakfast. That's how you live on the road, kid."
Daniel Stern is a character in that movie.
Yeah. Ooh, Angels in the Outfield.
Great one. Eric, you got to come on. By the way, Eric, you got to jump in, dude.
Yeah,
you got to jump in.
I got the Disney Plus access. Looked for Angels in the Outfield. Angels in the Outfield is not on Disney Plus.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Maybe that was pre purchase of the Angels from Disney.
It was a Disney movie.
Was it though?
Yes.
Sure.
Christopher Lloyd, Danny Glover. Christopher Lloyd is an angel. Come on.
Tony Danza? Come on. Tony Danza. It's my guy. Angela. Samantha.
I just remember his daytime talk show, and he had the Plinko game, which was like extravaganza.
Dude, his daytime talk show was my jam when I was in college.
Fun fact. When they canceled his show, the studio that they taped it in became the studio they taped the Rachel Ray show in.
Ray show. That's Jamie's not here. She knows my feelings on Rachel Ray. I know her.
What are your feelings on Rachel Ray?
Oh,
I know my feelings too.
I had a huge Rachel Ray crush.
Oh,
huge Rachel Ray crush.
I did until I was on the show. Until I was on her. Yeah, we talked. By the way, if you didn't know, I was on the Rachel Ray show back in 2006. You can go to chrisnessie.com/about and you can watch the clip. She calls me Pumpkin.
So can we just talk about if she called you Pumpkin and why you no longer have the crush on her?
She called me Pumpkin because I was wearing an orange shirt. And I no longer like her because she wasn't that nice to me.
Yeah, she wasn't.
After the taping of the show, when I was waiting in my green room without M&Ms or food, and my wife, Caitlin, we were engaged at the time, and my brother, we hung around and we were like, oh, we wanted to like meet Rachel after the show, get a picture, say thank you. And they were like, nah, she's in meetings. We're going to escort you out of the building.
You can leave now. Thanks for your appearance. Peace out.
Yeah. Peace out.
Yeah.
Let's turn our attention to the phones and let's bring on Mike.
Yes.
Hey guys, how are you?
Mike, what's
up,
going on?
Mike? How you doing, man?
Listen, I had all this baseball talk, the baseball movies. I had to jump in. Somebody, I forget who in the chat just mentioned something about Bad News Bears.
It was Jill.
So my wife and I, like 3 weeks ago, decided we'd show our sons some old baseball movies. They're both huge baseball fans. So we showed them the original Bad News Bears. Have you gone back and watched it?
With Walter Matthau.
Right, but the language, like we were,
right?
Oh my god,
it would not be. It's a rated R movie today.
Yeah, right. Like so, we were, but that one was. But I also want to say we had the Sandlot back when my little guy might have been 2. I think his ultimate comeback to my wife one day was he looked at her across the dinner table as she was yelling at him and told her she plays ball like a girl. So.
Nice. The Sandlot was one of the movies I would show my kids at like the end of the year after the Regents exam in New York. We'd have like 3 days left of absolutely nothing because the tests were all graded and nothing to teach. And I would show the Sandlot, and I totally forget the part where there's a curse right in the there's no escaping it. Like, he just yells out.
Yeah.
You just kind of roll with that, I guess.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? It's not the worst of it.
So Mike, why don't you share with us the movies about the Philadelphia Phillies? Those are good.
Yeah, right. So like, the only movie that comes to mind is the Jet 42, and it's my God, it's the worst part to be a Philadelphia Phillies fan. But yeah, we got nothing. We got nothing.
You know what a worst part to being a Philly fan would have been today? About 2:30 in the afternoon, MLB Network in their 64 hours of Derek Jeter programming.
Yeah.
They showed Game 6 of the 2009 World Series, and I sat there with my son who was not born, and I said, he goes, "Can we change it?" I was like, "No, because we're going to watch Matsui hit a 2-run homer right now."
That was painful. I was at Game 5 that year when it was in Philly. Yeah, no, wasn't. Despite Terrell, we couldn't do anything. We just watched last weekend. We watched the whole 1980s World Series. Again, I wasn't even born at that point, but God bless my sons for sitting there and watching it.
See, that's when you know you're actually doing the right thing as a parent. There, you got the kids. They're in it. There's no escaping. They're gonna love that forever now.
I think the best win is what my wife was the one who told us. She's like, "Hey, you got to get in here. It's on." I was like, "They got a good one, right?"
That's huge. That's huge.
She must have had something really important to do to get you out of the way.
Yeah, that too. Occupy my time.
Oh my gosh. So, Mike, I don't know if you heard us talking about the gangster movies. You got a favorite mob movie?
Oof.
I know it's on the spot. I just figured you're here.
Yeah, so I go outside of the I'm a bit The Departed. I like The Departed.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm always a big go for more of the Irish stuff. The Boondock Saints. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Oh yes, I haven't seen that in a while though.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a really good one. Kind of weird, twisted.
That's pretty good. I like that. It's a good pick. It's a good choice.
I'll take it. Thanks.
Jill sharing also a great baseball movie, A League of Their Own.
Tom Hanks in that was phenomenal.
I think everybody in that movie was phenomenal.
It's true. So fun story from my claim to fame. When I was playing baseball, I was 13 years old. I played ball up at Cooperstown, and we played on the field where they were recording League of Their Own. The umpire, if you remember the movie, the umpire at the end of the movie when he does like the reunion game, he was our umpire. So we got to take a picture of him.
Wow,
he's a real umpire,
a legit umpire.
He's legit. Cool. He's a nice guy too. He was a nice guy.
Until he punched you out.
He actually did. It was a really bad call, but I let it slide. I was playing in Cooperstown.
You know, an underrated one that's kind of embarrassing to admit that I like a lot is Summer Catch, the Freddie Prinze Jr. one.
No, that is not something that you have to be embarrassed about, because that is a great movie too. Jessica Biel in that movie.
I'm going to say this out loud. I'm kind of and have been always in love with Freddie Prinze Jr. all the way back to
Scream.
She's All That. She's All That. She's All That.
I'm sorry.
That's where I fell in love with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Wow. Fell in love. Wow. And
I wanted to be
everything out tonight.
I wanted to be Freddie Prinze Jr.
You got a thing for Sarah Michelle Gellar too? A little Buffy action there?
No, I had a thing for the other one in the movie.
Jessica Biel.
One that they made all pretty and stuff.
Jessica Biel.
No. Talking about She's All That.
She's All That.
I don't care about
the dark-haired one.
We're talking about baseball. Okay, well, we'll let it slide, I guess.
And Eric just gave us a thumbs down on the video on YouTube because we're talking about Summer Catch.
Come on, Eric. That's a perfect like college kid movie. Like it fits everything. It's like it's got the baseball, it's got the girls, it's got the comedy, it's got the drinking. It's that perfect college movie where like I think
there are better college movies.
Baseball movies.
Oh, so we're staying with sports.
I'm focused on baseball. That's what my life focuses on. But I remember watching that when I go into college. I was like, oh my God, I wish I can play in this league. And I think my buddy actually almost went to play in that league, and I was a little jealous. I don't think he ever went though. It was his choice.
I'd like to go see a game. I've never got to see a game in that Cape. I heard it's an amazing time.
It's an amazing league. It's true that the kids who play there are drafted. They're like the best of the best, cream of the crop.
Yeah.
But all right, Eric, you're allowed to have your opinion. It's cool.
Cool. We welcome all voices here on Podcast PD.
What else you got going on right now, Mike? What's going on? How's their league going for you?
Yeah, so I was at my little league meeting. My little league, no,
we're already planning the 2021 season. I mean, what's going on?
Actually, our league. So we own our own facilities, so we are able to kind of hold off. We're hoping as long as we're in Pennsylvania and we're going to Yellow this weekend, and we haven't been told we have to cancel yet. So we're hoping to squeeze the season in the month of July. So about to send out a massive survey to parents and See what happens.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that would be great for the kids if we could safely.
A little normalcy.
Yeah,
would be
July
nice
is
for
a
them.
great time to play baseball.
Yeah, right. It's not hot or anything.
Make sure all the kids get black T-shirts.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Vacations, if people can still do vacations, who knows?
If you go anywhere, at least you know people will be around. I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Attendance number should be up at the Little League games.
Yeah.
You might have to post no gambling signs.
I was going to say maybe a fantasy base. That's what I think I hit. I talk about South Korean baseball. I think I hit rock bottom when I went on DraftKings and I entered a lineup for South Korean baseball. That's when you know you're bad. But
How are those games? Are those
Mike,
games
I'm going to DM you a 1-800 number. Hold on.
Right. Are those games exciting?
It's baseball. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's baseball. It's fun to, and so we watched like I said, that the Dinos team, Aaron Altera plays on it. So you have the old Phillies connection. So it's better than nothing.
So Mike, what you're saying is your life has come to finding former Phillies playing in Asia.
You make it sound bad. And then you try and find
what team is Ryan Howard on?
Oh, come on now.
Dude, he's working for ESPN. He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
he's a really good analyst. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
Mike, as not to completely depress you and demoralize you being a Philadelphia Philly fan, only because I saw it here. Dan, thank you for throwing this out there. Mighty Ducks.
it's a great movie, man.
Favorite quote,
Goldberg.
It wasn't me.
You know, I saw somewhere they're bringing Mighty Ducks back, like a new one. I saw it. I think it might be a Netflix show, but I saw that Emilio Estevez, my device, that I'm not going to say its name, it showed me like Emilio Estevez agrees to come back as Coach Bombay, and I was like, what is this? So I think they're starting a new Mighty Ducks movie or series or something like that. But let's go.
Hold on, I'm Googling.
Find the answers right there. But I'm telling you, I swear I saw it. I swear I saw it. I'd watch it. I don't know if anybody else would, but I think a Mighty Ducks the series would be pretty astounding.
Oh, absolutely, we're big Mighty Ducks fans here in this house.
I haven't shown that to my kids yet, but I think I should.
There is some language in the first one.
That's okay.
Yeah, credit to my wife on that one too. She has my kids. They watch them all.
What's the best one? Like, does it all go downhill after one?
I
know there was like the private school, then they all go away somewhere else.
Yeah.
The third one would be the worst one.
Of course.
I like 1 and 2, 1 first, 2 second. I guess that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. See, with Major League, we talked about that before. I like 2, and then
2's
1.
awesome. 2's great.
It's one of the ones that I don't have a problem. The third one, you ever see the third Major League movie? That was pretty terrible.
Back to the minors.
Yeah,
Scotty Bakula.
So bad. So bad.
AJ, can you do an impression? And I know we lost a whole bunch of people based on the fact that we keep talking about sports movies, but whatever. Podcast. You want to talk about something else? Call in and change the topic.
Seriously.
AJ, Mike, can you do an impression of the manager? Any of the manager's quotes?
The manager?
As if you were, the manager from. All right, here you go. Close your eyes. I'll give you my best impression of him. Ready? Here you go. Close your eyes.
All right. Well, I know it's you.
Roll the heater, Rick.
Oh my God.
That's dead on.
I didn't know what you were talking. I thought you were talking about like Mighty Ducks, and I was like,
no, I have no vocal impressions. I can't do it. I'm like, what's with Dorn's contract and at shortstop? That might be about but I don't know about you too.
Oh my gosh. I
Runs like Mays, hits like Hayes, plays like.
Look at me putting with his sister is what he says, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple of impressions that I can do for the manager, but I don't think we're gonna get the PG rating for. He's in the hospital bed.
I love this British stuff.
All right. Well, we got to change the subject. We got to bring the people back. So, Mike, what are you reading right now? Let's do something like that. What are you reading?
So, another history guy, and this time of year we normally take our class field trips to Gettysburg. So I'm actually reading Gettysburg by Stephen Sears. It's a big, thick one. So nothing fun.
Not a.
I'll tell you what though. I just read again. Talk about something not school related. I just read. It's called K, the history of baseball in 10 pitches.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Baseball
Michael K?
guys.
No.
Yeah, no, Danny, no. I don't remember. It's a sport. It's a Sports Illustrated writer. It's a good book. It's a really good book.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, the Gettysburg one's pretty. For a history nerd like me, it's right up my alley. So it's a good one.
Pretty cool. Check that out.
I just turned in my man card to Eric by saying I've never seen Slapshot.
Ooh. That's a tough one.
Ooh.
Well, it's hockey, so not a lot of people see hockey, so doesn't make a difference, I guess.
Correct.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
There you go. Eric grew up in Gettysburg. That's cool.
That's interesting.
It's a really nice town.
I don't know much about the town. I've never actually been there, to be honest with you.
I tell you, like my school's about 2.5 hours from Gettysburg. We take a trip every year, and every year we talk about like should go back without the kids, like the teachers take our wives back. So we actually, my wife and I, here you go. I have a good wife when she does the baseball, the hockey movies. For our anniversary, like 3 years ago, we were going to go to Gettysburg, but it rained out, so we did something else instead. But no, it's a beautiful town. Highly suggest once you can get around.
Yeah,
a lot of good places to eat.
That's nice that she
I
embraced
plan
the
most of
history.
my trips.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm lucky.
You are lucky. That's true. My wife doesn't care about history. She would do nothing about history if she had the opportunity.
Oh, she hates it. She hates. My wife's a math teacher, so.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah,
there you go. It makes sense then.
Yeah, exactly.
All mine ever says is, you have a history degree, you teach history, and never hear you talk about any of it.
It's not something you could talk about unless people actually care. Like we could probably sit here, we could probably shoot the stuff for hours talking about a topic, but if you don't care about history, you're not going to listen. Just like baseball.
I was going to say, it'd be worse than the baseball movie talk.
It's true. It's true.
Let's see. Jody checking in. What is she reading? Reading Innovate Inside the Box by George Koros and doing Katie Novak's online course around it with 3 other members of her team. Very cool.
And Jody, if you like the book, I mean, we're going to go into education here, but check out George's podcast. My God, the name just escaped me. Was it Innovators Mindset Podcast? Is that what it's called, Chris?
Oh my God.
Yeah, Innovators Mindset.
I blanked for a second. I listen to it every week and I just totally blanked on it. Just click it on the podcast catcher. But yeah, check that out. George Kur's podcast is really good. It's getting better too. So good for him for reflecting and growing.
His TikTok game is also getting better.
All right, you and the TikTok. Mike, do you do TikTok? No.
I you know what? I downloaded it for about a week. And Chris, like he convinced me to give it. I was on his continuum, and then it's just I get sucked down that rabbit hole, and I just can't.
Same.
It's gone.
Same. I was on there, and
You got rid of it again, AJ?
No, I didn't get rid of it. I just don't go on there anymore. I really try to avoid it because it's one of those things where I'm sitting in bed, like I can't fall asleep at night, and I'll just like video.
I sent you.
Video,
I send video. I send AJ TikToks at least 3 a day, and the last one I sent you is worth it. You should check it out.
I'll check it out. I haven't been on a couple of days now.
Speaking of worth it, we can bring in another caller.
Hi, guys.
Jill from somewhere
Hi,
nicer than where
Jill.
I'm sitting. What's up, Jill?
I just thought that I needed to be the voice of reason here. And,
Are we in trouble?
No,
True that, yeah.
Just kind of bring the female perspective into it.
That's right. Without Stacey here, we had the testosterone building up. So
I
us down.
know,
Help
and
us
I
out
can
here.
feel it. Oh my goodness, you guys are killing me tonight. Definitely a league of their own. Come on.
It's a great movie. It's great. It's fantastic.
For a girl who grew up playing softball in Jersey, this is the movie. So, it's
Jill, who is your favorite
all there.
Rockford Peach?
Oh gosh. You're gonna make me choose? I can't. No, not gonna do it. Not Not falling into that trap, Chris Nessie.
Jill, with the League of Their Own, I'm going to be honest with you. When I went up to Cooperstown the first time, like it was after that movie had taken place, I was expecting to see like this gigantic women in baseball part of the museum. it was like one little section. Like they made the movie to make it seem like there's so much more, but it was like nothing. I was really disappointed. Really
I
was
know.
when I went up there.
I know, but for those of us who have lived the dream and played it, it's everything to us. So it's in our hearts. So it doesn't matter how big the monument is, it's how big it is in our hearts.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty powerful.
I'm going to take that mentality with me out on the front lawn tomorrow when I play wiffle ball.
Just
Good luck
going,
with that,
going
Chris.
yard on your kids.
Timeout. I am steady pitcher, but you'd be surprised how hard it is to get an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old to just want to continuously hit. They're such pains in the butt.
My kids swing and they just keep running. I'm like, no, wait, I want you to just hit right now. Like, I know you can run. Okay, fine. Go run.
Just
Put
hit
him out in
and
left
bring the
field,
balls back
we'll
to
be
daddy.
fine.
Bringing the balls back to me is really something they struggle with. And they're both very intelligent. And they struggle bringing me the balls.
Well, you're pitching. That's why they want you. They're telling you something. That's why they're not doing that.
I don't
Do
know.
you set up the lawn chair for him? Is it strike zone?
I'm having my driveway taken out, so I spray painted 2 batter's boxes on my soon to be taken out driveway. And my wife had the nerve to come out and she goes, "What did you do?" I said, "It's going to be gone in 2 weeks. Leave me alone. I'm not going to spray paint the new driveway." So I spray painted the 2 batter's boxes. I took a piece of wood and put an X on it, got it leaning up on an old metal folding chair, and I just pepper that board with fastballs.
There you go. Bringing back memories.
Oh, goodness. Poor Kate.
Hey, she
You're not the
picked
first person to say that.
What's going on in your world? Tell us
Yeah, Joe,
something
what's going
besides
on?
education.
Besides education, yeah.
Oh, besides education, just out there, just, trying to de-stress and living the dream. I'm out there every day running and getting things done around the house. And, Chris, I know you tell me all the time I should be posting about this, but I'm not, and just kind of doing things and getting them done around here. So I'm very excited to spend
Add
this
it to your
time around the
story.
house.
It takes a second. Just add to the story.
Well, it's kind of hard to do that when you're power washing and you don't have your phone on you and, or your drill's in your hand and you've got the level
least
in
the
the
finish.
other hand.
You do before and after, and maybe during. Power washing is very soothing.
I know it is. I just spent 7 hours yesterday doing it. So yeah.
Do little hearts in the concrete or you autograph and take pictures of that.
Oh no.
Maybe do hashtag PodcastPD and throw that out there that you carved it into your sidewalk.
All right. I'll do that next week when I'm out front.
There you go.
Joe, it's funny because like you mentioned, I don't always keep my phone with me. Like I feel like it's just a bad example I set for my kids.
Yeah.
So like my son was riding his bike today. I'm sitting there running after him and I had the phone. I'm like, all right, buddy, I got you. I'm behind you. I'm videotaping him as he's riding his bike for the first time around corners and such. So I'm like, why am I holding my phone? Just put it back in and just kept running. So all you need is a video of me just huffing and puffing as I'm chasing my 7-year-old.
Is he off the training wheels?
He is off. So look, I'll be honest with you. He had training wheels for like legit 3 days. And I put the bike together and the training wheels just started getting loose. I'm like, buddy, I'm not going to tighten them up. Like, let's get rid of them. So I tossed them. He was on the bike and then he got nervous. So we took a little break and he jumped on today and he's like, all right, I got this. And he was just zigzagging and
one
figure
straight line.
eights.
No,
He
he's
was just-
zigzagging. There you go.
Yeah, but he's riding a bike like this. I'm like, buddy, relax. He's like, I got it, Dad. It's okay. I'm like, watch out for the cars. He's like, can't look left, can't look right. So, okay, I'll watch out for cars, pal. Don't worry. You just keep going.
That's awesome. And I think that's a big point of, even, and I'm going to just kind of jump in here tonight in Stacey's shoes. Is that's a big point of tonight's conversation is to be able to disconnect and, just recenter yourself. And, for you, spending that time with your son, that's time that he will remember for a lifetime and is a fleeting moment for you, but it's just, will will memorialize his childhood. And that's just so important. And we have to embrace those moments and embrace this time and really disconnect and take the time to enjoy it, because we're spending so much time now in front of devices and in front of computers that it's so important to just reconnect to family and reconnect to the values that we love. And I mean, we're all talking about, sports and baseball. And I mean, I grew up playing softball in my town. And, those are the memories that we will hold for a lifetime. And that's what we have the opportunity to create for our families and our communities right now.
Well said. And I think this is the best part about being home during this time, is the fact that I've just watched my kids just grow, and I learn something new about them all the time, especially with the baby. It's amazing just having these moments, because we haven't missed a dinner together. We haven't missed a bedtime together. We've been reading every night. So like that has been the stuff that hopefully they'll remember, like during this really terrible time, that we were all together and we were all happy.
Yeah. And they will, and they'll embrace it, and they'll remember it for a lifetime. So that's what we have to do.
And if we're 12 weeks in and you haven't started making memories yet, what are you doing?
Well played.
I hear you, Chris. Okay.
Chris, grab on Jody's question.
My point for Jill is just start taking pictures of the things you want to remember and put them out on Instagram.
Yeah, just take a picture of everything. Just walk around. Here's a picture for Chris. Tag Chris in everything you do. Just tag Chris. Here's breakfast, Chris. Here's my lunch, Chris.
Hashtag summer goals.
There you go.
Chris, grab on Jody's question real quick. I think she puts up a great question about podcast listening. So the question is out there. When do you guys listen to podcasts now that we work from home and we aren't in the car? So for me, I got it while I'm doing the lawn. It's been consistent. Lawn, working out. And when my wife goes to sleep, I kind of just throw in my AirPods and I'm sitting there listening to an audiobook or a podcast. I try to get at least one a day, because I really have missed podcasts. So I don't know about you guys. I thought that was a great question. Thank you, Jody.
I'm listening to a podcast right now.
Oh, that's why you're not engaged?
No, I'm kidding. I listen when I'm cooking breakfast. Again, we've talked about it before. I don't listen to Gary Vee around my family. But I'll listen to, some of the podcasts about podcasting while I got the kids around, or I'll put the earbuds in while I mow the lawn. Now that the Jersey Shore bat cycle is out and about, I can put a Bluetooth on and I go for my ride a few nights a week, and my loop down by Spring Lake and Belmar and everything in Jersey. I can listen there. So it's a little drive time for me. And when I'm sitting here and not editing or creating, I'll listen to podcasts while I putz around the internet late at night. Jill, how about you? When are you listening?
For me, it's out on my morning runs. I'm enjoying the time that I would normally commute to go out and run every day or walk. And, that's when I catch up and I can, center myself and enjoy catching up on what I haven't been doing, or if I'm out power washing the fence or doing things around the house. Like I always have at least one earbud in, and I'm listening to different things. So I take that time. But also like AJ, there's times where at night when it's like, quiet in my house and I can just kind of decompress. And instead of turning on the TV, I'm clicking in and tuning into a podcast.
How about you, Mike?
Yeah, same with you guys. Chores, working out, or like I love. It sounds weird, but I enjoy doing dishes by hand. So like when I'm doing the dishes, the Hope Through History podcast got me through dishwashing the last month or so. So that's my big one, and also mowing the lawn, without a doubt.
So it's good to hear that like downtime for everybody is like podcast time. Like it's you don't hear that for a lot of people. Like I see some people saying 70's saying she's replaced TV time So that's really cool. Like replacing TV time while you're cooking, grab a podcast, grab an audiobook. I think now more than ever is our learning time. I think we need this because we got to keep ourselves active. We got to keep ourselves learning because I don't want my brain going stale. It's been stale for 37 years as it is. So just building it up again.
Yeah, but it's also the times where, like, if I've got my JBL speaker on, instead of just listening to music, now I'm listening to a podcast and I'm catching up on episodes that I may have not been able to catch up on over the past couple of months because, let's face it, even prior to this, it has been, it was a crazy time of year in education. And we're trying to figure it all out. And now ever since, March 13th happened, it's just been a whirlwind. And so like any chance that I can get, I am, trying to tune in and tune out the noise sometimes. And that's what we all have to do. It's not to say that there aren't times where the noise and the outside world is important, but there's times that we have to turn it off. And, that's what's important also.
That's very true. It's a good way to look at it. Anything specifically you guys are listening to right now that you would like to share with the masses? You don't have to if it's nothing that like you haven't changed, if it's the typical things. Just figured now's the perfect time to ask.
So I one specific episode, I think I know Chris has had Jim Sturdivant on his show, the Hacking Engagement. He just did one, I guess, early in May, and he had a CrossFit coach, Mike Bergner, I think his name was. So
not a CrossFit.
Yeah. So I'm not a big CrossFit guy myself. And
going back
more
tomorrow,
power
baby.
to you. Yeah. More power to you. But this guy's, I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, and Bergner was a Notre Dame grad. And his life is fascinating. He's an Army vet, Army or Marine. Anyway, he's in the armed forces, teacher, CrossFit coach, like the guys. It's an amazing story. So that's one that I absolutely loved here, and just how he deals with people and talks to people. And he talks about, overcoming weaknesses. One of Jim's things is he couldn't do the front rack position, and he talked about how he can get better at it. It was a great episode. It's a good series if you've never listened to Hacking Engagement.
Yeah, that's like your go-to, right? You've mentioned that before. That's one of your favorites.
I like him. Yeah, I like him. And him and Ed Milet, but you guys made fun of me so much last time. I couldn't get another one.
When you said Ed Milet that time, I jumped on Ed Milet, and his stuff is pretty powerful. And I followed him on the social media stuff. His stuff is pretty powerful.
But the one with Marie Forleo, I think that one was awesome.
I'm a little behind on his stuff, but yeah,
she's a good one. That's a good one.
All right, I'll check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, she's really good. I think she's a Jersey girl too, just for you guys. So
cool. I get. Yeah, I'm in New York over here. Right? Joe, what do you got? What are you listening to? Or is there anything you want to promote?
Okay, so a couple things. First, I hear you, Jody. I just saw this comment in the post, and I'm sorry. I'm just kind of jumping onto you guys.
Go for it.
Jody said that she feels guilty about getting on a device and learning when she's been, in front of the computer all day, and then the kids are waiting to do stuff. I hear you, and I get that. But, one of the things that I've learned over this time as an administrator is to close your device. Is like there comes a certain point in the day where that you have to disconnect and you have to reconnect to your family or to yourself. And that is just so important. And a couple things that I've been listening to is I've been catching up on Radiolab. Which is, just an amazing NYC studio podcast. I've also been catching up on No Meat Athlete which is from Matt Frazier and Doug Hay. And it's just about, living a life of plant-based living as an athlete. and how to strength train and how to build everything that goes around fitness and doing everything with that. And then of course I've been putting out my own podcast and just kind of thanks Chris and AJ of Feature Spirit, which is more of a spiritual based podcast and talking to people who have been changed and their lives have been drastically impacted by the power of scripture. And that has just been an amazing conquest for me. And I love doing it. And, it's been life-changing. So
let me just throw out a compliment about your podcast, Jill. As the editor of the podcast now, I've produced your last 2 episodes, episode 10 and episode 11. And I'll be honest, it's not a podcast I would have gone and listened to if not having known you or now even being the editor. And I am getting so much value from listening to the conversations. So thank you, because the content is making a difference for me to get in touch with that part of who I am. Because I'm not an outwardly God-fearing person, but God is important to me and religion is important to me. And it's made a difference through a few episodes being your editor.
thank you. That means a lot.
You're welcome, boss. And actually, I'll give my recommendation that gives AJ time to stall and prepare one more promo for his podcast.
Nope.
I haven't listened to it yet, but it is queued up. It is going to the Art of Manliness Well, episode 612, Grill Master Secrets for Flame Cooked Perfection. Nothing gets me going like listening to how to barbecue.
Oh boy.
We just had one recommendation, totally opposite of what you put out there. Just saying.
Now, mind you, tonight I grilled asparagus for my love. And she said, these are really good. I don't eat asparagus for nothing, but she said I grilled up good asparagus. And I had chicken. And my boys had soubrette.
I actually wanted to talk about podcast, to be honest with you.
All beef.
We're like the official sponsor of the Art of Manliness, by the way.
Brett,
Oh,
he
boy.
will be on this show at some point. We are so close to making that happen. Meaning he responded once by liking an Instagram story.
Like an Instagram post. Thanks, Brett.
Oh, Eric's got one here. I've been listening to the Pit Life BBQ podcast. My wife got me a Rectech smoker for my birthday / Christmas present. Man, those are the worst when they combo the gifts. Anyway, he goes on to say, I've been getting a lot of practice over the past 2 months.
That's pretty.
And you don't,
My barbecue is shut down right now, so I got to.
you can't go outside and barbecue.
My gas line is busted. I need a new gas line. I got to call a plumber. So I have natural gas, and I was mowing the lawn one day, and I moved the pipe, and all of a sudden I smelled gas. So the pipe split in half. So I had to turn off the gas. So the gas line is turned off at the barbecue at the Bianco household right now. So I bought propane, thinking, hey, I'll just hook up the propane tank. No, Weber doesn't do that anymore. So I need it fixed.
Yeah, you need to fix quick.
I know it's killing me because my buddy Dave here, who was on the previous episode, he's the one taking pictures of all this smoking he's doing. He actually wanted to come on tonight and talk about smoking meat, but I don't know where he is. So we're talking about all the barbecue stuff. Dave, let's go, man. Where you at?
He's probably
got ribs and
outside.
skirt steak. I'm sitting here making burgers on the flat top on my stove top.
Oh,
No, he's trying. Dave's trying to hit me below the belt right now. If anybody who's ever seen my Rachel Ray appearance, he's coming at me hard, Dave, in the chat. Thanks, Dave.
All right, so I'll share what I'm listening to. I was listening to as I was doing a lawn today. It's a Sunday lawn day. I was listening to Lead to Win with Michael Hyatt, and I can't just pick out one episode. The last one I ended up on was communication fails that you need to avoid, and it's based on his new book, No Fail Communication. So I thought it was just kind of good listening to him talk about communication and how we can be better communicators as leaders. And there's an episode I was listening to about getting away from email jail, he called it. So that's something that like I've been caught up in during this time. And like Jill, you just said, turn off the computer. I hate to say it, on Friday, I had meetings from 9:30 in the morning until 3. And then I said, see ya. And I turned off the computer for the rest of the day and checked some email over the weekend, and going to respond to some today. Just, I needed to get away. The week was full of meetings. And as Chris said, we were up until 11:30 one night. Just, I was doing work and he's playing Yankee clips for me. So 1 o'clock in the morning, just my free time, man.
There are times, AJ, where you're talking about email, and if you're comparing it to jail, it feels like you're in solitary.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Oh man. So Jill, since you were so bold as to say you wanted to be Stacey tonight, you think you could close the show out?
Oh no, I have not reached that level yet.
All right. AJ, you want to do it, or you want me to do the magic?
Go ahead, Chris. You can have it.
All right. First, thank you to everybody for coming out and joining us in the chat out at podcastpd.com/live. If you enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you didn't enjoy it, don't come back. Podcast PD is available everywhere. You can get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify. You pick the platform and you will find Podcast PD. Thank you to Mike for hopping on for a little bit. Thank you to Jill for hopping on for a bit here. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. We went where we wanted to go, which was nothing to do with education. We look forward to bringing you some more relevant, awesome education-related content, probably as soon as next week. And with that, say goodnight, Mike.
Good night.
Say goodnight, Jill.
Good night, Jill.
Say goodnight, AJ.
Good night, AJ.
Good night, Podcast PD.
Don't forget the wave.
Oh, say
You gotta
wait,
do
bye,
it.
everybody.
You gotta do it.
All right, that'll give me a break in the audio. So that was fun. We're still live here for just a couple of minutes to say goodbye to people like Eric and Jody and Stephanie. Who else is here tonight?
Let's see. We had Dr. Dan. We had
Dan
Bruce.
Andrew Shuck was here for a bit.
We had a Bruce sighting. Andrew, thank you. Dave,
A little
thank
disappointed at Bruce if he's still watching, because he said he could come on and chat with us, and Bruce was a no-show.
He's too famous.
Too famous.
The 10-minute teacher.
Sure, I'm a teacher. No need for podcast PD anymore after that.
We had some gal named Jill. She popped. She was here in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know who that was.
Nice. All right. Thanks for checking in live. I'm going to end this, and then we can say goodbye to Jill and Mike.
All right. Bye, guys.
See ya. Thank you.